Welcome to Cohesive Friendship Unit. My name is Chris. I am here with Jeremy.
What's up?
And Brian.
What's going on?
Guys, Pokemon has been getting a lot of eyes on it the last couple of weeks. And they just released a latest trailer depicting Gigantamaxing. That's going to be fun to say. And we're going to talk all about the trailer and maybe lend some of our thoughts on there not being a National Dex this time around. But real quick, we are doing a giveaway. We are super close to giving away a copy of Ukulele. At 700 subs, we're going to be giving away that. All you have to do is be subscribed. If at this point that you're watching this video, we've already hit 700 subs, maybe check out our channel page, because that's probably where we're going to have the official announcement of our next giveaway. All you have to do is be subscribed. We do a lot of giveaways, so yeah, that's it. Alright guys, so Gigantamaxing. Let's talk about this trailer first, because there are some kind of changes. There were some news in this trailer. And then let's talk about maybe that National Dex. Because to me these two are intertwined.
Pretty bumping.
The music,
I will give it that. The music was pretty good. It had the Pokemon like esque-ness.
the British are known for their music.
Yeah, that is a good point. Other than that, I don't know that I have too much positive to say about it. Like,
I think, well, Jeremy and I were talking, I think the most positive thing, at least I think maybe for Jeremy, correct me if I'm wrong, is that you're getting different gym leaders, at least some of the gym leaders, depending on which copy of the game you buy, which is kind of a new twist.
Yeah, I thought that was very cool.
that's some like basic level shit.
Yeah, but we
doing since day one.
they could have, but they haven't been. Yeah, well, so I mean, like for the diehards out there who buy both copies of the game, at least they're gonna be getting something a little bit different, you know.
And you know, if you really love the game, if you buy it and like you're like, oh, this shit is amazing. Like, you know, I'm always of the opinion that more is better. Like, I'm glad there's more content out there, so that's cool. I appreciate that. And the gym leaders do look cool as well. So
there's a reason to buy the other both games now, besides just to complete the decks.
Yeah,
Which you can't even do anymore. But we'll talk about that. I guess besides that, I mean, we saw some Pokemon. They were, you know, they're Pokemon.
Like a cake.
There's been worse.
and an ice cream, dude.
There's
I mean,
been
like
worse.
a piece of fucking clinker from a furnace. Like that's.
I like the
There's also a
Corgi.
dog.
I like the Corgi. That's very
but
British.
like-
There
It's
better be
very
a
British, but like, and I mean, so is cakes and shit like that. But like, come on.
They better have the Queen of England's with like a bunch
In the
of
game?
those. Yeah, but with a bunch of the Corgis. They
Dude, it's
better.
It's gonna be Elizabeth I from Civ.
Damn.
We are
gonna be
pleased to
Victoria.
meet you.
Well, so I
It's gonna be a
think
crossover appearance, but I don't know, dude. Like,
the next biggest thing. It sounds like we're okay with the Pokemon. I did like one of them, the Duraludon or whatever.
The bird.
No,
what,
the
what
like
was the one
the
that they
glacier.
named Duraluminum? Like, no, the British came up with this. We'll just name a Pokemon after it. It'll be
Mega
the aluminum
Aluminum.
Pokemon.
Aluminumon. What is this, Digimon?
Pretty much, like, but again, like, how many
Corgimon.
Pokemon? If you could catch them all, how many Pokemon would you have? You'd have like 1,200 Pokemon by now, right?
You'd have like 900 probably after this. There's
it's-
over 800 now, and there's
Yeah.
probably going to be about 100 that come in
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, so like, it's understandable why they're kind of running out of ideas, but
Yeah.
I think that every generation has a lot of fucking stupid Pokemon. It's just at the time you're like, damn, that's fucking stupid, but you don't think back on like Voltorb.
Hey man.
yeah,
Which is like, they were like,
Shitting
we need,
on my
we
boy
need,
there were a
Voltorb.
lot
they're
of,
like, we need one more, and they're like, all right, I'm gonna put the eyes on this Pokeball.
Sentret. Sentret, it was a fucking raccoon that stood on its tail. Like, there's a lot of that shit. And, I mean, to be completely fair, you're right. Like, there were stupid Pokemon, but they weren't, like, they were just, like, squirrels. You know, like, they weren't, or they were just, like, rocks. They weren't, oh, it's a, whatever, it's a cake Pokemon. You gotta
That I
fight
do
them.
agree with, yeah.
I mean,
Like,
It used to be a lot
just
more
make them,
just like,
just make them
Geodude is a
squirrels.
fucking rock. Like,
Yeah,
but like
that's
once you
alright,
made one
like-
rock,
Yeah, but he rocks
But
duty.
he's a classic, you know. People love him. They see him
I
and
love
they're like holding up signs and shit.
I got the keychain.
Jay's got the keychain. All right, well, I
That's
think
how you know you're an OG. You got the Geodude keychain.
for me, and maybe I'm alone on this, Gigantamaxing, right, guys? So the
Come
big
up
like,
with a better word.
well,
like,
yeah, well, the big
first
reveal.
off-
Is a big problem.
So the big reveal at E3 was Dynamaxing, which Jake and I and Brian, I think, had a field day looking up all the fucking companies that are like literally Dynamax. But Dynamaxing was making your Pokemon big. And now we have, on top of Dynamaxing, Gigantamaxing, which changes your size and your appearance. So this is like a whole new mechanic on top of Dynamaxing.
it's too much shit.
They heard you like Dynamaxing, so they put a Dynamax in your
They put a
Dynamax,
mega
so you can Dynamax while you
Dynamax.
Dynamax.
Yeah. Well, so for me, like my biggest, I was pro Dynamaxing because I said if you needed to have a gimmick, it was a fairly innocuous gimmick. Like it affects every Pokemon, unlike Mega Evolutions. So like you don't have to change your team balance. Every Pokemon's affected by Dynamaxing. Great. And as far as the developers go, they don't really need to do extra work. They don't need to build extra models, and they don't need to build new animations and stuff. They literally just make the Pokemon bigger. So from that perspective, I was a fan. But now that we have Gigantamaxing, one, it makes shit more complicated. Two, I highly doubt every single Pokemon can Gigantamax because it changes your appearance. So that upsets the team balance, basically, or you're going to rely heavily on Gigantamaxing Pokemon. And three, now they're just wasting time on realistically a gimmick that's only going to last one gen. So
Well, and I think
that's my thought on it.
I think what you said about like the team balance thing is important because I see this like whole stadium aspect as being some sort of online multiplayer. Like you can battle with people across the world, and if you want to be good at that, you're gonna use like it's restricting the set of Pokemon that are viable for
Yeah.
that kind of where, you know, with the Dynamax thing, you're
Everything
right.
is
You take
Dynamax,
kind of
yeah.
a random strategy and just use that to your advantage because it works across the board. But it's restrictive. You're right about that. And I think that's gonna be negative not in the short run, but in the long run. People are gonna get bored with whatever multiplayer they build into it because if you're gonna be competitive, these Pokemon have a clear advantage.
Yeah.
I think on the flip side, Chris, we were talking earlier, and you agreed that your favorite of the kind of gimmick super abilities of the Mega Evolution, the Z move, and now Gigantamaxing / Mega Maxing, that Mega Evolutions was your favorite. Is that right?
Yeah, again, I'm not super thrilled with any of them, but yeah.
Well, but so I actually in a certain way, I kind of like this because I agree that Mega Maxing is innocuous, but it doesn't like do a lot for me either way. Like I'm not mad at it, but like I'm not thrilled about it. It's kind of like you make a big stupid ass, you know, Pikachu, like that one episode from the first season of Pokemon where they go to the island and they got the robots, the giant robots. You guys remember that?
I didn't watch that much of the TV show.
This is a good app, but so I wasn't mad at it, but at least with this, it's basically like you have Mega Evolutions in addition to the Mega Maxing.
But that's like it's too much.
I liked Mega Evolutions in X and Y. I didn't think I was going to. I thought it was going to be stupid, but I thought it added something to the game. It is true that it basically, especially if you were someone who was actually going to play a lot online, it does limit pretty significantly who you can have in your team. That's mitigated somewhat by the fact that you still need to have a balanced like variety of different types to counter other potential Pokemon.
Well, you lose your hold slot too, which I think was their original balance, but
you also lose your hold slot. You probably can't any. That probably doesn't play into it now.
Yeah.
But I'm not particularly mad about it.
But like, think of all the stuff that they could have done.
Like what?
You know, like so when they're
like,
when you
make
played,
the
like,
game look good.
Yeah, but this is actually pretty low lift versus like a complete graphical overhaul, as you said offline, or you know, yeah, it's a couple extra models. I think it'll be like Mega Evolutions, there will probably be, 20 odd Pokemon that can do, the Gigantamax. So it's like 20 extra models you had to put in the game. It's not that much work.
Here's what I'm saying, right? Like, remember the second generation games where you could go back to the first generation games and like it was a whole nother round to play after you had already beaten kind of the first half of the game? Like, they could have done something like, they could have just said, we're not going to do, like, we'll make the Pokemon big, but like, then you're going to go all over the place and you're going to have regionally different Pokemon. So when you go into this online competitive thing, which I mean, it's just like screaming in my face that's what the stadium thing is going to be, or that's going to be part of this. But you can diversify your team. You can like focus on Pokemon from one region or whatever. Like, don't keep going with the gimmicks. Make a wide game instead of a tall game. You know what I'm saying? Because that's more enduring. People will play that for longer if you add more content in it versus just kind of putting shit on top of the content that you already have.
It's like fucking, excuse me for like doing this, but it's like fucking Goku hitting like Super Saiyan 3. It's like, why the fuck we doing this now? Like, we did it, like we hit it once. Or like, it's like the fucking... It's like whenever an anime goes on too long and they like
I agree.
They like hit the power of God and you're like, why are we doing this still? Like,
yeah, it's like when Naruto grows like 12 arms and has like cat eyes and shit. Like, it's like we were good back like 4 years ago.
Yeah, but
and I agree with that, but like they were all stupid, so like I don't know.
Would you rather have like, and I don't watch that shit, so I don't know anything about.
That's why I said excuse me for doing this.
I mean that shit in the sense that I say everything is that shit. I'm not that as a genre because I get that a lot of people like it, but like, would you rather have another like 2 or 3 seasons, or would you rather have all of the stuff they put into that one episode that you were like, this is ridiculous and it's been taken too far?
No, I agree with what you were saying. I mean, if I were just picking things to add, I'm not sure why they didn't do in any of the other games what they did in the second generation where you went back to the previous region. I don't know if it's like a technical limitation or what. Maybe they're just already trying to make the maps as big and full as possible that they just don't have the room. I genuinely don't know.
Do you know the story?
I would much prefer that.
Do you guys know the story about the region hop?
No.
Right.
No.
I'll do
I think
it
you
quickly.
better told me before.
I'll do it quickly. So, and this is actually, I think this is why Gen 2 takes so long to calculate damage at higher levels, but they were having problems fitting Pokemon Gen 2 and onto the cart. So they got Satoru Iwata, who he was the CEO of Nintendo. He died of lung cancer in like 2015-ish. He worked on the Smash games. He was the president of HAL Laboratories, which did like Kirby and stuff. So he's been around the block with Nintendo. But they took him in for Pokemon because he was a really good programmer, and he like worked overtime, whatever. And he managed to not only get Gen 2 to fit on the cart, but there was so much extra space on the cart that he was like, he just threw in the first fucking Gen. He was like, yeah, you guys like suck at this. Like we got two regions in here.
I mean, those are 2 like games released on very, very similar systems, so it's kind of understandable how they can do that.
Yeah, he also reverse engineered the Pokemon battle system, like only by playing the game for Gen 1, so that he could make Pokemon Stadium, like entirely. Which is why the Stadium battle system is not 100% accurate, but it's pretty good.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is very interesting.
Well, the more you know.
No, if that were the choice, if I had like a binary, like add another, let's say just city to the game versus this shit, I would pick the city. But I think this is probably really easy for them to throw in, and they get to say that they added something new. That's why I think it's probably...
But that's a cop-out, you know? Like, you have so much following to this franchise. You can't just rest on your laurels. Like, you have to keep producing quality stuff, or else people are going to be like, they're just pumping out Pokemon games and like... Given this is not like, it's definitely not a copy and paste, like they do add stuff every generation, but if they're not adding anything that was really memorable, And this I kind of put in the category of it's not really that memorable because it's pretty much the same as you can get big in however many other games that they had.
You roid those boys up, get them big.
Well, let's talk about something that I think is tangentially related, at least. And Brian and Jeremy, you guys already kind of hinted at it. Like, so there is no National Dex. That's the.
Wait, can you just explain that?
Okay, so usually in Pokemon games, there's like the regional Dex and the National Dex, and the regional Dex is like the Pokemon in that generation. So like whatever Pokemon,
in the game.
Yeah, in the game. So like whatever Pokemon you could catch in X and Y combined, that would complete your regional Dex. To complete the National Dex, that is to catch every Pokemon, period. So like, and have it in your game, like have it in your Pokedex, right? So they announced at E3 that they were not going to have the National Dex this time. Not every Pokemon for the first time in basically ever, not quite ever, but in a very, very long time, the first mainline Pokemon game was not going to have a National Dex. People got mad, and just a few days ago, Nintendo basically responded by saying, like, yeah, we get it, you're upset, but like this is just how it is going forward. Like we just
wrong, dude. You gotta catch them all.
And they're not saying how many Pokemon aren't gonna be in the Dex. So one, I just want to ask, like, how many do you guys think would be enough? And if the answer is all of them, that's also fine. And two, like, to me, I would rather have them if it's 25 Pokemon. Like Jeremy and I are kind of suggesting, like 25 Gigantamax models. I would rather that just be 25 old Pokemon than this Gigantamax. That's just me. And I know 25 is so insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but I don't know. And I was wondering, like, do you think like half of the Pokemon is enough? Like,
I think if you were gonna put together like the iconic Pokemon, like Zapdos and Mewtwo and Pikachu and all that stuff, like you would have somewhere around 100 to 150
plus the new ones. So you're saying
plus
like
the new ones.
So you're saying like 200 to 300 Pokemon.
The problem with that is that there are nobody cares about Geodude or nobody cares about Caterpie, but like if you have a Pokemon game without Caterpie in it, like
shame.
I don't know.
Do you have a Pokemon game at that point?
Do you really have like Pikachu will be in it, guaranteed? Because he's
well.
If you have a cave without Zubats in it, do you really have a Pokemon game?
Exactly. Like those, but nobody cares about those. Like nobody uses those, but they've
actually
been in
Crobat's
the game.
pretty good.
Well, so
but nobody uses like Zubats.
My issue.
You got to evolve him into Crobat, dude.
My issue is
max out his friendship stat.
I assume they're going to be like trying to rotate so everyone gets in maybe per console generation or two or some like arbitrary thing, but like so if they are going to rotate, like they're not just going to keep the top dogs in every game. That means they're going to have to pick only some cool ones to be in this game and some cool ones to be in next game. So like if you want Zapdos, you buy this one. If you want Moltres, you buy the next gen. Like that's going to be the only way to do it. You're never going to have like the trio, or maybe you will, but you know what I'm saying.
That's realistically how it was already, though. That's the thing. Like I know in theory you could, like, there was a National Dex that had all the sprites and all the game data, but it was literally almost impossible to complete the Dex. Like, let alone special event legendaries like Jirachi and stuff, where you would have had to like get the GameCube mini disc and then put that on a like a SD and then get that shit on.
You want to know something? I have a Jirachi.
I have a Jirachi.
We all do.
Oh shit! Okay.
I have the
I got him from a different person, so there you go.
There you go. But so my point is, like, and that extends also to like Pokemon that you think of as being like cool or iconic to the series. Like the bird trio hadn't been, I don't think, in a mainline Pokemon game for quite a while until they were added in again in X and Y, I think it was.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it existed in, you know, in theory, but like Chris, when was the last time you completed the National Dex, if ever? I've never completed a National Dex.
I have never completed a National Dex.
It's really fucking hard.
You can't trade between Gen 2 and Gen 3.
You don't
without
need
some
to
sort of
because Fire Red and Leaf Green came out, and then Heart Gold and Soul Silver came out.
You can also get Pokemon from like Pokemon Coliseum and Pokemon Coliseum 2. It's like if you want to get them all as of like X and Y, Chris and I figured it out one time. It's like it's a lot. Like it's doable, but
well, you need every game. Like, that's just...
you need every single game, and you need a bunch of special event stuff, and you need the right way to trade stuff. Like it's not really tenable in reality. So like the way Pokemon games have been for quite a while is, this game has they all have Zubat because you got to have the Zubat. They usually have Caterpie. But, like, do they have Slugma? Not usually. Do they have, like, Camerupt? Not usually.
Slugma slaps, dude.
Slugma was underappreciated.
Slugma's cool, I agree. But you just. They, for a long time, haven't done that.
I think if you can get in all of the Pokemon in a console's life cycle, I think that's good enough.
What do you mean?
So if we're breaking off this, like, games can trade with past games and future games and whatever.
That is annoying.
If the Switch generation of Pokemon games gets all the Pokemon models in one way or another, I think that would be fine. And that's probably, 3+ games. So that's about 300 Pokemon per game, plus the new ones. So about 300 Pokemon per game. If you get all the Pokemon in a console's generation, then the Switch 2, throughout that whole console's lifespan, you get all the because I get that they have to make new models every time they upgrade the hardware.
But
I think that's fine.
The other side of that is they're getting to the point where the people that the games are directed at, the people who aren't buying them for nostalgia, don't remember like the really obscure ones from Gen 2 and Gen 3. So you could just recycle them. The nostalgia people will be like, oh, I remember this guy. And the people who are playing it for the first time are like, okay, this is another Pokemon. Like, you don't have to keep adding all this random shit on top. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Yeah. You've already come up with all these Pokemon, and you've had such a long franchise that you're now getting to the point where the original ones and like the generation or two after that, all of them aren't necessarily remembered by everybody that's playing your games. So you can leverage that and accomplish the same thing that you're talking about at the same time.
Yeah, but for old school players, if they just stopped making new Pokemon just because young kids don't necessarily know Slugma.
I'm not saying stop making new Pokemon, but like make 25 really good ones instead of 75 like kind of okay ones, or 100 kind of okay ones.
Yeah, that's a tough nut to crack. I see what you're saying because like at a certain point, you have 1,200 Pokemon and you have like a Lava Lamp Pokemon. It's like, okay, dude, but that's kind of the central new thing they offer. Like, I think that's kind of the point to maybe throw in the towel. Like, maybe you're done.
add all of these new flashy mechanics to the old stuff, and then you've effectively got a whole like stable of more or less new stuff because nobody remembers it. Like if you're coming up with these ridiculous Pokemon to fill insignificant roles,
you put in the time and the R&D to make these Pokemon. Like you have them. You should.
It's yours. Yeah. You can leverage that.
Yeah, you can sell them. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we all have slightly differing opinions on this. Brian, did you make a stance on like how many Pokemon? Like, should there be a National Dex, or like, do you not give a shit? Like,
oh, dude, there should be. Like, that's
all right.
Okay. So what's the fucking? Like, it says Pokemon.
Gotta catch 'em all.
Right. Gotta catch. That's been the thing since day one.
Yep.
Like it's gotta catch. And if you can't catch them all, what's the point?
So Brian's National Dex. I'm like National Dex by the end of the console. So like the last Pokemon game for the console. So like realistically 2 to 3 gens. And Jeremy is he doesn't give a shit because
I don't care that you can't
get... like 1% of the population does this realistically.
Well, I'm not quite there, but I do trade. I actually think it is and will be annoying if they come out with the next, like, say they do the Black and White remakes, and then you can't trade Pokemon from Black and White that don't exist in Pokemon Sword and Shield. That would suck. That would be annoying. So hopefully maybe they can retcon that. I think that would hurt their sales too, because that's a big reason to buy those games. But as for like, not having them all in one game right now, I don't really care.
All right.
There
Fair
should be
enough.
about. I think there would, but I think there should be more. I think 400 to 500 Pokemon in the game.
Okay. Okay. Well, that so like just I think we're running long in this video, but just to like put a cap on that idea, Sun and Moon combined their regional decks was it was around 400 and change.
There you
So
go.
yeah, so half of them. Yeah. Okay. I think we've talked Pokemon to death at this point.
Yeah, dude.
Brian, where should our viewers go to catch their Zubat?
Well, that's right, Chris. And if you don't give a damn about any trumpet playing band, because it ain't what you call rock and roll, go ahead and hammer your thoughts on that down in the word box there, or on, you know, Pokemon or whatever else. And like Chris said at the beginning of the video, we are doing tons of giveaways here on this Cohesive Friendship Unit channel. So go ahead and click that sub button, especially if you watch this far, because you know you probably liked it. And you'll be exposed, if you will, to the veritable shit ton of content that we do have here on the Cohesive Friendship Unit channel, much of which is highly similar to this. And smoke them if you got them, guys. That's all for me tonight, Chris.
All right. Thank you, Brian. We'll catch you guys next time.